Good morning, folks. I've been up for a few minutes, long enough to get my coffee started. Let me show you my coffee pot. It's a Bialetti Mocha Express. I've got 3 of these things. 3. That's a sign of addiction, I expect. I've got 1 that stays in my truck. It's a 6 cup. Of course, 6 cups, they're talking little bitty cups like this. I'm going to put it all in this, and it'll come up to about there. That's how much 6 cups is. I have 1 at home. This one stays in my truck. I have 1 at home. And then I have another one that's only a 1 cup pot, and I keep it in a little backpack. So I can always have a little extra shot if I want. I've also got my breakfast tacos ready to cook. I've got my cast iron skillet, and I'm not using foil or anything like that this time. It's just my skillet. And butter, some onions, some bacon that I've already cooked. I just crumble that all up, break the onions up. And once that gets all happy together, then I'll put some eggs in it. Kind of scramble them in, skillet scramble, not fancy scramble. I don't fancy scramble eggs. I just swirl them around in the skillet a little bit. It tastes good like that. And then I've got these little flour street tacos. And these are the carb counter. La Banderita, something like that. They're okay. I prefer the Hawaiian bread kind. Those are the really good ones. But they didn't have them. So I had to get these silly carb counter, which is probably healthier for me. I made a sandwich. I'm within walking distance of my booth. And so I could just walk over here and grab a sandwich and a soft drink and some cookies. Coffee's not perking yet. It doesn't perk. That little lower chamber, the thing unscrews. It's shaped like an hourglass and it unscrews in the middle. And the coffee goes in the middle in a little funnel-looking thing. If you've never seen one of these, they're kind of interesting. I'll make another video about it some other time. I think I mentioned yesterday, this is day 2. Day 2. Yesterday was setup. Today's first day of festival. But I mentioned I'm backed up right next to an interstate. It's just on the other side of these trees behind me. And I learned something about that. There's the noise. The noise didn't bother me too much. It's white noise. But the air is foul. Sometimes the breeze blows. If there was a wind, it would be okay, but just a very gentle air moving around. Sometimes it moves over this way and you get all of that exhaust coming down. And it sometimes gets very foul. It's almost like standing right next to a diesel exhaust. So that's not best case. That's what I would consider it. I've kind of picked up in here, watched 2 movies last night. I had planned to watch Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest. That's one of my favorite movies. I also have Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window. A friend and I do the rear window thing when I'm home. But I was going to watch Rear Window tonight, or I thought I would. And so I was going to watch the North by Northwest last night, but it said it hadn't fully downloaded. And it was still trying to download, and there's no signal out here to speak of. I can make a phone call and I can send a text message, but I can't get anything to come up on my phone. It's such a minimal signal. I think that's enough that it'll run my Square register. I have that. I'm kind of drifting around here. I'm not awake yet. I haven't had my coffee. Lighten up. You're familiar with Square, probably, if you do shopping of any sort at small scale type of businesses, because it's a very easy way to take plastic, and you can either have the little thing that sticks in your phone and you swipe it, which that's the freebie, or you can buy a little square thing about that big and about that thick that you can stick a card in, and that works better, but you still got to screw around with your phone. And you don't want to be texting somebody and then needs to switch back and forth, and there's no calculator on that thing. So if you're doing multiple sales, which that doesn't happen very often, but does sometimes, or at least not for me anyway. I ended up with this little thing about this big, and it's kind of wedge shape. It looked like it'd be a good doorstop. But that thing just works dandy. But it still needs an internet connection. And so I set up a hotspot with my phone, and that gives me the internet connection. And I connect that away. I don't know why I went down that path. I saw somebody pulling in a few minutes ago. It's just a few minutes after 6 right now. I think it may be 6:30. My alarm went off. I got up before the alarm. It's very foggy. So it's got a kind of a damp feeling. I got a jacket on. I was hot yesterday, and it was kind of warm in my truck until 9-10 o'clock at night, and then it started getting cool, and I ended up getting my heavy blanket out because it got cold. Or I was cold anyway. I think it's in the 50s. I can't. It's still too dark to see my thermometer. Anyway, I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, this is people finishing setup or just coming around to do their initial setups. There was a lady here just a few minutes ago, didn't know where her spot was at, so she just arrived. But I've got kind of a mess here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but this is just covered with water. It's dew, and it's dripping down on my table. I've tried knocking it off, and you can see that big old long line of water there. My chair's wet. Everything's wet. So I got some drying out to do. It just needs the sun, I think, but oh, what a mess. Oh well. Oh, and I've got another little tip for you. The porta potties, they're okay when you first get here, but they'll be nasty later on. But the toilet paper in those things, if I held a piece of toilet paper up in front of the lens right now, you would just think it was foggy. That's how thin that stuff is. What do they expect you to do? You're going to use at least 20 feet. You're not going to save anything for them. What a trip. I just pulled my shoes and socks off, and it's wine time. I think I told you last night I had mine, but that was after setup. This is after the Saturday of the festival. And this is Apple Harvest Festival at the Frederick County Fairgrounds, I think is. I don't know the official names of these, I don't remember. It sure feels good to get the shoes and socks off. It's not that you're on your feet all day, because most people take a chair. And if you look at advice on doing festivals, it says you should have a tall chair, a director's chair. That puts you up more closer to eye level with people. And I've got my jewelry bench set up so that it fits with this director's chair I've got. But you're still up and down all day, helping customers and fetching supplies, just doing stuff. And you want to be in a pretty good pair of shoes. But by the end of the day, it feels good to kick them off. Good traffic today. My sales were about normal. It's kind of interesting. My sales this year are consistently about half what they were before COVID. And of course, COVID shut everything down for a year. And then things came back, and you could tell people were out, and they were happy to be out. And they were willing to spend money, and so I had a couple pretty good festivals as soon as they opened up after COVID. But then it dropped back down, and it's consistent, about 50% of pre-COVID sales. I don't know what that is. Part of it's probably the economy. You know, with inflation, everybody's struggling a little more than they used to. But it was a good day. Met a lot of nice people. I didn't get any orders today, which anymore I'm just as interested in the orders as I'm more interested in the orders than the table sales. Because table sales, I have some pricey stuff out there. Nothing over $500, but I also have under $30 items, and it's the under $30 items that primarily sell. I sell a few that are just under 40. So you want to have that kind of stuff. That's your gas money. So I have little sterling silver rings, and I keep those are $29, I think. So I have something under 30. I can't realistically put something out there for less than $20. Even at less than 30, people say, this is real sterling silver. They don't think it's the real thing if I price it too low. I learned that the hard way. That Malbec's pretty good, especially this time of day. They don't. Most of the people are shut down, looks like. In fact, I was one of the last ones to shut down, I guess, and I was only about 10 minutes late. People shut down quickly. This time, most festivals, the last hour is pretty dead. But I had people coming around. The reason I was late is because I had some lady there I was helping. Tomorrow will probably be different. And if you got a Saturday and Sunday festival, Saturday and Sunday festivals, Saturdays are usually pretty good. Sunday you'll make, or in my experience, I make a third to a half of what I do on a Saturday. Now, if it's a Sunday only event, then it's like a Saturday. But when you got a 2-day thing, or even worse, it's a 3-day thing, that last day, I'd rather go home, but it's not allowed. If you take off without a valid excuse, you won't get back in it next year. Or that's what they try to tell you. I suppose it's probably true. That interstate, I don't mind the noise, but the smell. Big trucks going by and that diesel exhaust. Well, I got my little cast iron skillet and lid. If you get a cast iron skillet, get a lid that fits it. Same manufacturer ideally, so that you know you got a good fit. If you got a cast iron lid on a cast iron skillet, you have something pretty close to a Dutch oven. It'll be a little hot on the bottom, but you can kind of bake with it. And if you've got an oven, like at home, you stick the whole thing in the oven, and you've got a short Dutch oven. I suppose you could get a lid for like a camping Dutch oven to fit a cast iron skillet. I bet that would work. And then you could heat from the top with charcoal. But I don't usually like screwing with charcoal when I'm doing a festival, because cooking is, by the end of the day, you're tired. Doing a festival, even as a vendor, I'm sitting there, I'm talking to people, I'm building silver jewelry. And that's what I do. That's my claim to fame, is I'm sitting there building stuff. I don't normally build stuff and finish it at the festival, because I want to bring it home and run it through a burnisher, and or maybe my big buffing wheel, something like that. There's some stuff that there's some efficiencies at home that I just can't take on the road very easily. So it's not like it's not hard work, but you're always on. And if you work by yourself like I do, you need to take lunch with you. Don't think you're going to get something from one of these vendors, but you're probably better off not doing that anyway, because most of the stuff is high fat or high carb or both. So you want to take your own lunch, because if you're trying to get away to go order something, you'll be standing in line for a long time. If you're going there around really any time that they're serving food, there's going to be a line. And if there's not a line, you got to maybe think about going to someplace where there is a line. But you're not making sales, and you've left your booth open. Now, you always want to kind of make friends with the people on each side of you, so that you can say, hey, I'm going to the restroom. And they'll kind of keep an eye on things for you. If you've got two people working the booth, no problem. You can go. One of you can go and you can spend 45 minutes standing in line to get a hot dog if you need to. But if you're by yourself, you need to be at your booth, and so you don't get a lot of opportunities to get away and stretch your legs, and it's a tiring experience. It's fun. It's a nice way to make a little money. I'm more doing markets now than festivals, but festivals have their place. I will continue to do some of them. I don't know if I'll do this one again. Maybe. It's fairly close. And it's close enough, this is for me in particular, it's close enough that I can say that when I talk to people, they ask if I'm from around here, I can tell them where I live, and if they don't recognize it, they kind of have a general idea of where it's at. And I can follow up by saying, and I'm in such and such market on the first Saturdays and such market on the second Saturdays. I can let them know that they can find me. And that's kind of important if you're going to sell something that's a little bit more expensive, or if you're going to take a custom order. The people want to think that you're going to be around. You're not going to be unavailable to them. Now, there are a number of vendors that travel the
They'll start up north and head all the way south, or vice versa, and cover multiple states. And that's kind of cool. If you can do it, more power to you. But when people ask you if you're local, you say no, sorry. So they know that they're only going to see you today and tomorrow, and maybe next year. Can they reach out for you if there's a warranty issue? Most festival vendors do not give warranties. I do. I tell people, I say, if you ever have problems, I give them my card and I say, that's my cell phone number on there. I tell them, don't call me, but you can send me a text. And I said, if you ever have problems with it, you find me, and I will do what I can to make it right. Lifetime warranty doesn't mean much at my age, I don't suppose. But the idea is I want them to know that I will stand behind my product. And that makes a difference. Maybe not so much for this sale, but it makes it... There'll be people looking for you next time, which is way cool. I saw you at such and such market. I was going to go there this week, but I didn't know if you'd be there or not, and here you are. That was cool. I had that happen today. But it's not unusual for people to start following you and watching where you go if you're kind of in a local area. And if you're doing the markets and you're regular on the markets, they know where to find you. And they also know that you're not so far away. You're not 5 states away. For me, that's important because, like I said, I've got some stuff there that they might not trust somebody else and make a purchase from them because they don't know if they'll ever see them again. I plainly mark. I put my trademark goes out to some gazette or something. It means it's almost finished. It goes out in about 3 weeks. So I'm marking, and I put my mark on it, soon to be full-fledged trademark, and I put purity stamp. I mark a purity stamp. And you got to be bona fide to do that. So little things like that add up to, if you're going to buy something from me, it's at least got some value to it. And I do stand behind what I make. And that's meaningful for a local market. And so that's why I'm not doing as many festivals as I used to. And next year, I don't know how many I'll do. I will do some because, if you go to the nice places, it's a paid vacation, a working vacation, but it's a working vacation. But anyway, I'm going to fix dinner in a little bit. I'm going to try to watch the Alfred Hitchcock movie. I can't get the one that I wanted to watch last night, the North by Northwest, because it didn't download fully, or that's what it said. But I am going to watch Rear Window, I think, pretty sure. And the breeze is picking up. I had to secure my awning. I dropped it down as far as it would go and still remain open. And I tied it down really well because there's a little bit of a breeze. It's not supposed to rain, but there's a little bit of a breeze. But that breeze feels good. It's just a wee bit cool, and I like that. It's September, and it's not the middle of July when it's miserable outside. Anyway, I don't know if I'll make a video for the next day of the festival or not, because when it's time to shut down, you just want to get home or to the next place, wherever. And you've already seen me do my coffee and breakfast, so I don't know. Maybe not. Bye-bye, folks.